All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Malden School Committee. Today is Monday, June 1st, 2026. The time is 6:30 p.m. We would like to apologize to you at the outset. We were scheduled to meet at 6:15, but the kickoff for Pride Month ran a little bit behind. So we are here now. We're kicking off the meeting. And what we're going to do first is pledge allegiance to our flag. We'll then have a moment of silence for our veterans. Our clerk will take attendance to ensure that we have a quorum, allowing us to come together tonight. And then we'll take a look at the agenda. The agenda consists of the following. It has the approval of the May 4th minutes. We'll take a look at the May warrants. I think we're then going to skip to our school superintendent to recognize one of our retirees. We'll then go back up to public comment. There will be an opportunity for members of the public to address the school committee. We only ask that you state your name and address for the record. Based on where we are tonight, we're going to go for 15 minutes, 3 minutes per speaker, and then we'll reevaluate as we get toward the end there. Then we'll go back to our school superintendent, where he's going to talk about next year's improvement plans, strategic plan update, superintendent evaluation, and then finally an update on where we are with extended day and summer programming. After that, we're going to go to my right, your left. We'll hear from Ms. Rose Iberg regarding the policy subcommittee and Ms. Spatafora regarding finance. After that, everyone, we're going to take up a series of motions and resolutions. First is the nomination and confirmation of the vice chair. We then have a $100 donation to the Malden High School Band. Ms. Spatafora will introduce the budget for fiscal year 2027, as well as the school improvement plans. From there, we'll go back to Ms. Rose Iberg, where we're going to take up school choice, timeout, seclusion, and restraint policies. And then we're going to take a look at the Mass Association of School Committee Contract Policy Service. Then there are 3 more items. First is the handbook, the bullying prevention and intervention plan, and then finally, acceptance of that extended day and summer programming RFP. Then after that, everyone will take points of personal privilege, and then we'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for one reason, and that is the approval of the May 4th executive session meeting minutes. We're then going to come back out from executive session. We'll move adjournment. There will be another meeting toward the end of the month. We will keep the school community apprised as to when that is. All right, so are there any questions of the members? If not, let's do this. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence in honor of all those who have fought for our country and continue to do so today. Thank you. Okay, everyone, we're going to take attendance.
Mayor Christensen?
Here.
Mr. Drummy?
Here.
Mr. McCarthy?
Here.
Ms. Spatafora?
Here.
Ms. Macklin?
Here.
Ms. Horty?
Here.
Mr. Piazza?
Here.
Mr. Bernard?
Here.
Mr. Rose Iberg? Superintendent Seppo?
Here.
All right, everyone, we have a quorum sufficient to allow us to gather. Let's take a look at these minutes. Motion by Mr. Drummy, seconded by Mr. McCarthy. Any questions, everyone, on the May 4th regular session meeting minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody here opposed? Abstaining, one abstain. You have that, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
All right, that carries. Next up, May 2026 warrants.
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Spatafora. Second by Ms. Horty. Any questions on those, everyone? You've had them, you reviewed them. Let's do it. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it, that carries unanimously. Over to our school superintendent.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, members of the public. We have many of our employees who are retiring this year, some of them who've already retired, and I'll be mentioning all of their names during the beginning of my report. But I want to recognize Jimana Salome Cafferty, who is a Spanish teacher at Malden High School. Ms. Cafferty, would you come up to the... ¿Cuántos años trabajó en Malden?
It's been my pleasure to work in Malden. It's been the support of my colleagues, wonderful, awesome scholars, all my students. It's just a beautiful experience and wonderful administration. So it's been a pleasure to be working with you.
Well, we appreciate you and thank you for your service. Thank you. Gracias.
Sure. All right, everyone, we're going to be in a brief recess to personally come down and congratulate you, okay? All right, everyone, you know what time it is. Public comment time. Anybody wishing to address the school committee can do so now. We only ask that you state your name and address for the record. We're going to open this up for 15 minutes, 3 minutes per speaker. Okay, hold on one sec. Let me just get set up here. The heck? Give me a second now. Where's my timer? Oh, yeah, here we go. I think this is it. How you do it? Yeah, that's it. That's it. No, this one. Yeah. Okay. All right, you ready to go? Let's do it.
Okay, 31 Grace Street, Dr. Liz Tanagbanwa. Good evening. I'm here with the hope that the superintendent's strategic plan for next year and beyond will call for a reduction in ed tech. For years, our children have been mandated to spend many hours each day on their Chromebooks in and out of the classroom using tools they actively detest. You have trained students to equate schoolwork with coercion and monotony. The issue for me is not that kids dislike iReady and Course Mojo, it's that the repeated use of ed tech has poisoned our students' attitudes towards learning, curiosity, and discovery as a whole. Malden's English Language Arts classroom should be inquiry-based settings that allow students to dive deep into literature, perspective-taking, and exploring genres. However, the Course Mojo video the district leader showed me was a dystopian environment with screen fatigue and instructional time lost due to pleasing a chatbot instead of interacting with the classmates around them. This was the district's vision shared with me over the winter. In the superintendent's report, I hope to hear about how the high expectations with support to meet diverse needs, the first tenet of the strategic plan, will be thoughtfully implemented in ways that we did not see this year. One way to do that is to have your school-based MTSS teams differentiate ed tech usage for students' instructional growth. The Los Angeles United School District recently decided only students who are below grade level should have to use iReady's weekly personalized lessons, which is a step in the right direction. Struggling readers will need a more targeted approach with rules-based reading programs to make gains, however. While on the topic of iReady, I was wondering, who's the point person in Malden for families looking to join the federal class action lawsuit? The company has allegedly harvested and shared over 80 categories of sensitive student information with third-party vendors without parental consent. Will Malden be keeping track of families who sign onto it? Another tenet of the strategic plan is to have fair access to opportunity. However, this year we saw your one-size-fits-all approach. The entire classes were told they were in Course Mojo pilots without parental permission, and pilot partnerships were not recruited based on any criteria used to support students' growth. That isn't fair, and it denied access to rigor and, again, differentiation. These tech vendors promised personalized, frictionless learning. What Malden schools got instead was mind-numbing, data-hungry, junk software that devalues teachers and shortchanges students.
10 seconds.
Please listen to the growing movement led by alarmed parents and teachers who are saying enough. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else wishing to address the committee? Good evening.
Good evening. Rashna Irani, 119 Bainbridge Street. Thank you. I'm the parent of a kindergartner, a third grader, and a fifth grader at Forestdale, and I'm also a pediatrician in Chelsea. Last year, when the school day was extended, I was happy to hear that our kids would have more time for recess. However, over the course of the school year, I have become disappointed to learn that my third grader and fifth grader are allowed to play on their Chromebooks during indoor recess. As a parent, I made a decision to not have any screens for my children at home. I see the benefits of this decision in that my children love to read paper books, draw, build with Legos, make paper airplanes, play Monopoly, play analog chess, hike in our woodsy Bainbridge backyard, ride bikes and scooters in our back patio, and in the neighborhood. They like to play and are given the freedom to play and explore. As a pediatrician, I have learned that play is critical to childhood development. The play that is critical is the analog kind. It is very important that Malden Public Schools encourage our children to play with each other, even during indoor recess. There are many cold, rainy, snowy days during the school year, and I would like our children to have the gift of being off screens and playing board games, card games, coloring, crafting, and talking with each other. When I brought this up at a parent-teacher conference, one teacher suggested that she could tell my child that she couldn't be on the Chromebook during recess. But of course, this would result in singling out my child, and perhaps she would feel different. Also, the pull of screens is strong, and my child would probably feel left out. Sadly, my child told me that she would like to play a board game called Guess Who, but there was no one to play with because all her classmates were playing video games. I encourage Malden Public Schools and Malden School Committee to consider implementing a screen-free indoor recess policy so that we can allow our children the benefit of play that will foster their development and their social, emotional well-being. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anybody else wishing to address the school committee?
Good evening.
Salam alaikum.
Assalamu wa rahmatullah. Thanks, Mayor. My name is Abdul Wahab. I'm from 405 Pearl Street. On May 27th of this year, Eid al-Adha fell in the morning. Three of our school, Fairway, Forestdale, and Linden, they sat 264 eighth graders down for a state test. This keeps happening We track a decade of it because of the Islamic calendar moves 11 days earlier each year. Each sweeps across a testing period, striking a different grade, a test almost every time. In 2019 is the high school science MCAS. This year is the 8th grader civic. And weeks before, it was the 10th grader ELA. I know Malden Public School offers a religious excuse absence, and intention is good. But consider a person and submit a person who have to submit the request, often needing help for it, in a city where 4 in 10 residents were born abroad. Even then, the child misses the lessons, make up the test alone and in another day, and might have to explain the classmates why they were gone. A child who celebrates Christmas faces none of this. This day is in the calendar. Our neighbor cities figure this out. Medford does it, Cambridge does it. New York City has done this for the past 10 years without losing a single day. If they can, Malden can. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to address the school committee? Good evening.
Hello, my name is Miriam Bushtut. I'm a student at Malden High at 82 Washington Street, Malden. So good evening, Mayor, and
Welcome.
Good evening, and Superintendent Sipple and members of the school committee. I'm here tonight to ask the school committee to consider recognizing Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha in the school calendar. For Muslim students, Eid is one of the most important days of the year. It is a day of prayer, family gatherings, charity, and community celebration. It is similar in importance to Christmas or other major religious holidays for many families. When school is held on Eid, students often have to choose between participating fully in an important religious holiday and attending school. Even when absences are excused, students still miss education, tests, assignments, extracurricular activities, or important classroom experiences. Many of us students, Muslim students, spend Eid worrying about what we are missing at school instead of fully celebrating with our families and community. Malden is one of the most diverse cities in America, not just in Massachusetts. Our diversity is something that we are proud of. Recognizing our Eid would be sending a message that Muslim students are valued members of the school community and that our traditions matter too. This request is not about special treatment. It is about making sure all students feel included and respected. When I was a kid, I used to live in my country, Algeria. It is Muslim dominated. And every Eid, I would be so excited to dress up, go to morning prayer, and then after we would visit family. It felt special to me. Everything stopped for one day, one memorable day. But today, we don't have that luxury. Today, we miss schoolwork. Today, we miss tests and quizzes. Today, we stress about how costly Eid comes for our grades. How are we supposed to prioritize a special day when we don't feel valued? Now, after morning prayer, I no longer go visit my family. Instead, I check Google Classroom to see what I have missed. I postpone plans with my friends because I have a project due tomorrow. All I think about is how hard it must be for kids who never got a taste of home, kids who grew up worrying about homework, kids who learned to FaceTime family members instead of meeting face-to-face, kids who converted to Islam and feel alone and unsupported, especially that their school doesn't give recognition for their identity. Many neighboring districts have already found ways to recognize the Eid while still continuing to meet all educational requirements. We hope Malden can explore similar solutions. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Well said. All right, we have just a few more. Good evening.
My name is Zainuddin, and I live at 64 Essex Street. Today, I will be advocating for two things. Eid as a school holiday. A big number of our students are Muslims. There are at least like eight people in my class who are Muslim, and I have a sister as well who has 5 people in her class who are Muslims as well. When we take Eid as a holiday break, we miss our work and we end up having to double it the next day. And we end up having to choose between our religious prayers or having to go to school and do our work. And another thing I will be talking about is no electronics in school. A lot of the students end up being distracted by the games and end up like not doing their work. And they learn better on paper as it is less distracting, and they have been taught to learn on paper. And learning on their computer has an impact on their health as their posture, eyes, and affects their attention span.
Okay, good
Thank you.
job. Thank you. All right, we have time for one more speaker. Good evening.
Lucky me.
We'll see
Good
about
evening.
that.
I know, right? Good evening. My name is Dawn O'Toole. I live at 130 Adams Street in Malden. Malden is a diverse community with many different religions and ethnicities. This is what makes Malden a well sought out community to raise a family. I am empathetic to families whose children may not get their religious holidays off. As a Catholic, it is also an ESP in Malden. Many of my own holy days are not on the calendar as full days off. Most recently, Ascension Thursday. Nor were they for my children who went through the Malden Public Schools. It is important to make sure that absences due to holy days are excused and work is allowed to be made up. According to DESE, students are required to be in school for 180 days, with vacations, legal state and federal holidays, professional development, and snow days. Malden starts school in late August and ends mid to late June. To be fair, if one group's holidays and holy days are added, all groups' holy days and holidays need to be added, and that may put a burden on families as vacations may need to be removed and school may go longer than August through June. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's it for public comment. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and we'll now go to our next item, which is our school superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll just wait one moment. All right. Do you want to give me that? Oh. All right. Thank you very much, members of the committee. Thank you, members of the public who are here tonight, our parents and caregivers, as well as our staff. As you all know, we are committed to leading through these core values, including and collaborating with as many members of our community as possible, embracing growth, because we are always a work in progress, and doing right by all of our kids, regardless of their background or their prior success. All alone, each of us is strong. Together, we are much stronger. Tonight, we are, as the chair already mentioned, we'll be covering these items in my report. And I assure you, I've made efforts to try to be succinct in tonight's report. We'll see about that, says the chair. I do want to recognize, in addition to the Spanish teacher from Malden High that we recognized previously, these are some individuals who have given their careers to serve the students and community of Malden. From the BB School, Joanna Katowski, who is a teacher. At the Early Learning Center, Bernice Stallworth, who is an education support professional for 25 years. Earl Fitzpatrick retired earlier this year from the Ferryway, 29 years in our system. Gloria Marcela Valderrama from Ferryway, 13 years. Richard Catone, wow. 39 years as a custodian in the Malden Public Schools. Warren Anderson, Cheryl Cohn and Deborah Thomas, all from the Linden. Marcia Healy, 30 years at Malden High School as a teacher in our system. We recognized Ms. Cafferty earlier. Marianne Genova Long, also retiring from Malden High. And then from Salem Wood, we have Caroline Jacques, an education support professional, Tracy Luther, a teacher, Susan Noonan, a teacher, Wendy Masternardi, a teacher, and Deborah Tenorello, an administrative assistant who'll be retiring this summer. If we could just give all of them a big round of applause. All right. We have, as an annual requirement, as you're aware, we have school improvement plans that our schools draft in compliance with state regulations and also with our district policy. Tonight, we're joined by Assistant Superintendents Komal Basine and Pam McDonald, who have done a lot of work behind the scenes to coordinate the school improvement planning process. We also have all of our pre-K through 8 principals who are in the house tonight. And that's from the Early Learning Center, Mr. Rock. From BB, Dr. Carrie Ann Murphy. We have from Forestdale, Adam Weldi. From Ferryway, Dr. Matt Stahl. From Linden, Mr. Gray Garcia. And then from Salemwood, Miss Van Wyn. So I want to thank you them for being here tonight also. As you saw in the supplementary materials that I shared with you all last week, we have followed a very in-depth and inclusive planning process over the course of the last several months, reviewing data, reviewing staff and family input, conducting focus groups with our students, and also seeking input from our school councils. You'll also see that this year, our district-wide expectations for all of our school improvement plans have included a focus on math intervention. Making sure that we're doing right by our students with disabilities, taking a fresh look at our student success team process, which is something that basically the formal process we really zero in on individual students to make sure that they're getting the supports that they need to be successful. And then finally, a focus on science as well. These are all elements that were required for all of our school improvement plans this year. All of our school improvement plans are also framed by the same structure. They have growth targets that are based on fall baseline results from last year to capture both growth and achievement over time. It has strategies and activities and progress monitoring for an instructional priority, for a multi-tiered system of support priority, basically a system to support students who need extra help, and to make sure that that help is given to them by design and not by accident. And finally, a focus on student attendance. What you can anticipate for this coming year is that, first of all, for Malden High School, we have a draft plan that you've received in your materials just in light of the leadership transition we have at Malden High School. Our house principals and our directors have worked closely together to develop a draft and working with the instructional leadership team at Malden High to develop a draft plan. But once the new principal is on board, we'll be taking some fine-tuning to that plan before we start the year next year. We'll be looking at our EBICAS and accountability results in early October. By mid-October, we'll be setting new growth targets for this coming year for mid-year. And then finally, we'll be reviewing that mid-year data in February, and then on to the next cycle of developing our plans for 2028. And just want to we have a very brief video of our illustrious building leaders who are just going to share a little bit about the process that they've gone through and the priorities that all of their buildings are seeking to pursue in this coming year.
Each of us prioritized getting feedback from multiple stakeholders. We started off by looking at a staff survey. Many of us also got feedback from students about how they learned best, and then hearing from our family members at our school. We took all that feedback and then met with our instructional leadership teams, our school site councils, and worked together as colleagues to put together a school improvement plan that we think will improve student outcomes in Malden Public Schools.
I mean, we had a plethora of data to analyze, so I think being able to take that data and use our teacher teams in the building, like ILT, to be able to look at our family data and see how our families are feeling, to be able to look with our school council to see how our staff were feeling. I think making sure that each of the different subgroups that we worked with had a level of being informed about the group helped us sort of make decisions that served the best interest of everybody and ultimately our kids. I mean,
we had surveys, but we also had informal conversations with students to let them feel more comfortable in answering the questions and to give us some authentic feedback on what they thought really helped them learn in classes.
We worked with our school site councils, both within our buildings and across the district, in order to make sure that we were taking in multiple perspectives of middle school as well as elementary families that have very different experiences in our schools.
When there are events that are happening, it's a good time to also talk with families and get their feedback on that kind of level, just to, hey, what's going on, how are you feeling? And it makes them kind of feel like they're included while at a really fun event.
And I think as we disaggregated the data, really looking at different performance levels of different groups gave us a more complete picture of what the instructional outcomes were in our schools so that it was less masked by majority. And it allowed us to dig deeper into our analysis as to where we were hitting the mark versus where we needed to explore other options in order to meet our student needs.
Well, I think as you read through the plans, you'll sort of see that, I mean, ultimately the goal for all of us is 100% of our kids on grade level and learning. But disaggregating the data allowed us to really hone in on the specific student groups that we each have to work on to try to make the growth that can be meaningful for our individual buildings. So when you read the plans and you see the differences, like for example, we're looking at grade 2 literacy or grade 6 to 8 MLLs, and we were able to use DIBEL scores and access scores, and we each brought in different pieces to help us decide where do we push the most next year.
I think it's been the intentional effort of consistently coming back to that data and looking at it over time to see student progress, school progress that's really helped us all grow together.
One of the things we talked about as a district was how we can take that to the next step. And so we're looking at unit study plans and really making those plans accessible for students with complex needs. And so for literacy, we will be using all of our data that we discussed and really looking at what supports can we put in place to make sure that our students are accessing graded curriculum in areas of beyond.
Our PD blocks, one of the things that we're excited about is really using those PD blocks to set up our math interventions. So, you know, same structure of unit studies into lesson studies, but I also think that there's going to be an analysis of the teachers to say, okay, this is a skill that our students need to work on, this is a skill that we're missing, how can we put the interventions in place, but also make that vertical. So if they need a piece in 7th grade that they're missing, how do we build that up in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th? Because math skills are, you know, a little bit more so than literacy, math skills are really built on top of each other.
And one of the strengths of having the entire team of teachers at the PD blocks, like we heard a few minutes ago, is that the teachers get to share best practices. So practices that are working in the ELA or literacy blocks, PD blocks, can be transferred to math sometimes too. It really just helps the student, helps support the student.
We've seen a lot of success this year when teachers who work consistently, collaboratively, share practices, results in better instruction for kids. The adults working in schools are always busy, and finding dedicated time in order to sit down, co-plan with a targeted goal for students to help them make progress pays off tremendously. And we're really looking forward to utilizing that PD block to ensure that colleagues are able to share best practices, align on goals for students, to really make sure that the vision in our SIPs play out.
I mean, ultimately, you walk in a room, and if there's more than one teacher in the room, they're both equally responsible for the success of the students in their care. When we walk in a room to see how strategies that we're looking at in PD Block are playing out in the classroom, it's really important that both of the people there were able to actually participate in the learning, and that they were able to share in the experience, and that they both know what they're working on and why they're working on it. So I think being able to sort of prioritize that co-teaching aspect of it and the co-planning aspect of it could be really important for us as a district.
And I think when you talk about co-teaching, the easiest visualization is your ML teachers or your special education teachers collaborating in the classrooms. And that's a tremendous value in having them with their co-teachers or their collaborative content teachers, so they can see how those interventions fit into whatever unit's going on or whatever lesson is going on. So I think bringing them together in those PD blocks is going to be incredibly valuable, so that they can see how those interventions fit into the curriculum that's being taught.
And we're also being mindful about making schedule changes to allow more access to interventions because we know that that's a need.
We found that we couldn't just use one measure for math intervention this past year. So we take our ISL data, we take our student exit ticket data, and our Eureka assessments, and really disaggregate that and see where are we hitting the mark and where are we missing. And then we're using our math intervention block to really target numeracy, and we're doing that throughout all the grades, finding those common threads, as was alluded to earlier, as math spirals and gets more in depth. So we're really looking to align that through our PD blocks when we're talking about math focus, and our win block is writing our cross content. So we're writing about math in our win blocks when we have our math cycle, and kids will rotate through those different content areas to learn about writing in each of those. And I think just as with the data, I guess the theme in the SIPs this year is this multidimensional perspective, and really valuing that and putting our efforts for these structures in the SIP to reflect that. We saw the value of multiple perspectives when we were trying to target our areas, and we need to make sure we're keeping those voices present at the table as we move forward.
All right. And with that, I just want to invite Assistant Superintendent Basine and McDonald to come up just to assist in answering any questions that any members of the committee might have about the school improvement plans.
Questions from the team? Any questions? Tonight's your lucky night. Well, it was. It was. Mr. Piazza.
Sorry. I'm still working my way through the improvement plans, but I love the detail there. I'm curious about, I see a lot of observations, and I'm wondering how we ensure that folks get, there can be a tension when your formal evaluator is the person observing you, as opposed to a colleague who doesn't write your formal evaluation that then gets registered with DESE, and I'm wondering if there's like attention made to ensure that that the observation and that those feedback cycles are separate from the more formal evaluation protocol.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, so we have an evaluation process where educators are evaluated based on their years of tenure a certain number of times. Okay. And that's clearly laid out. The superintendent shares this by September 15th of every year. Separate from that are all the non-evaluative coaching and observation type work that you see outlined in the SIP. And we've made a really intentional move this year to sort of separate those pieces. There are they have to be coherent with one another, and there are times where, it's the same, you need to use the evaluation process to back up, right? To make sure that we're working and we're continuing to make progress. But we've tried this year to really intentionally separate those so that when educators are trying a new technique, you want them to say, this might not work, and I hope you come in and see it so we can be thought partners together.
Right. Great, thank you.
Can we just move the mic up?
Sure.
On top? Can you move it on top of the, yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. All right, let's see who's next. Miss Hoodie. Maybe not. Hold on a second. There we go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We were discussing, and they were discussing a little bit in the video also about co-teaching. Because I have a little bit more knowledge about the inner workings of school, and this may be a question for you, but may also be more of a question for the principals, how are we allowing time for a special education teacher who's in 2 grades, because most often they're connected to 2 grades, co-teaching time to plan with the gen ed teacher for that grade? So just logistically speaking, where are we fitting all of this in?
So at the high school, instead of a duty, they have a co-planning period. So most teachers have a duty in their schedule, and instead of the duty, their duty is co-planning, so that's easy. The K to 8s are a little different because they're a little more spread out. We do have the PD block, and most of them are only going to be covering 1 grade next year due to the staffing that we have. But
There are many situations where educators are split across grades, and I will tell you there's no easy way to do it. The way that we're doing it is with principals and our program managers and our directors literally sitting down and going grade by grade, educator by educator, when can we find space for these educators to come together? So it is a painstaking process, but it's ultimately worth it because when there's meaningful co-planning, we know that co-teaching is enhanced.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Horty. Back to our school superintendent.
Thank you, Ms. Bassi. Thank you, Ms. McDonald. And thank you to all of our principals as well. Appreciate you. Thank you. How do we get that back up? Window? Here? Oh, I see. And thank you to everyone else who joined us this evening. We also just want to share this evening a brief update on our strategic plan that I presented in great detail last month. Just highlights from the feedback we received from the community over the last several weeks, and what the next steps are for the planning going forward. We had over 300 contributions from various members of the community responding to questions we asked about each of the 5 priorities. We also had a nice group gather with us along with Ms. Macklin and Ms. Rose Zyberg at the BB back on May 19th, I think it was. Seems like it was longer ago than that. But where there was a lot of affirmation of the priorities that we've laid out in the plan, these priorities that you see in the graphic on the right of this image, especially inclusive instruction, equitable access to opportunity, authentic family engagement, and support for our workforce. We also had a lot of helpful feedback regarding adjustments, mainly about just being really transparent in how we communicate our progress, and also demonstrating alignment between what we hear from the community and what we've done to follow up. This coming fall, this document, the strategic plan, is a living document. And what is laid out in the document are not only those 5 priorities and the strategies and the measures for success for each of those priorities, but is also laid out a series of activities that we have planned for year 1 to move us in that direction. This coming fall, we'll be really fine-tuning the targets for each of those priorities. We'll be, over the course of next year, updating the committee and updating the community on the progress we're making in each of those areas. and then also beginning to define what the year 2 activities will be in each priority, because there'll be a lot that over the course of next year that based on how things go, we'll have more clarity on what our next steps need to be. And I'll stop there. Any questions about the strategic plan before I continue, Mr. Chair?
Nope. Nope.
All right. So I shared with the committee last week a self-assessment regarding my evaluation for the year. What I have to share with you and with those who are here in attendance and online tonight are just a status report on the 4 goals that you all approved for me last November. The first goal was the development of our strategic plan. And as you know, I just shared about that. We were able to complete the development of the plan, laid out the activities for year 1 and next steps to move us forward. And so happy to say that I think we met this goal. Implementing the district strategy for improvement is the second goal. As I shared in my self-assessment document, this is one where I feel like we've made significant progress. It's always a work in progress, but I think that there are some items that are pending the end of the year with some year-end data that we're still waiting on. But for the most part, I'm extremely, extremely proud of the work that we've done across the district, not just the district leadership team, not just our principals, but our educators, our students, everyone involved in making sure that we're really working in a coherent and collaborative way to move our students forward. The growth has been remarkable, but also the way teams of educators, as you've seen multiple times in my presentations, and I've had an opportunity to witness in person, teams of educators across our schools have really embraced this work, and more and more and more momentum is building around the work that we're doing to support our students. The third goal is another goal for which I feel we made significant progress, and that is the special education program review. And you'll recall that when I introduced this goal, that same evening there was a motion that was passed to also implement an audit of our special education services in the district. We were able to complete both of those by April, within the time frame that the committee had requested. And we were able to identify many things that are going well in our special education program, and also some things that are clearly areas that we want to improve. Specifically, focusing on improving specialized instruction, both in our substantially separate settings as well as in the general education setting where we have the majority of our students with disabilities, and also really improving the collaboration that we're pursuing with our parents and caregivers represented by CPAC. And we're excited to embark on a project with the Apple Institute with several members of CPAC's executive board this summer. And then the last goal was the new superintendent induction program. It's a 3-year process. I've completed the 2nd year, attending all the sessions, completing all the assignments, and working closely with my induction coach. And so this is a goal which I feel was met or exceeded. And I look forward to receiving your feedback when we meet again for my evaluation later in the month. Anything?
Carry forward.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The last item, I just want to mention that you all, I submitted a memo to you along with some additional supporting documents related to the request for proposals that we issued in partnership with the city for an extended day and summer programming organization to manage our programming here in the district starting next year. You'll recall that this request for proposals was issued in March with a due date of April 15th, and the city received formal proposals from 3 organizations to manage the after-school and summer programming at Beebe and Forestdale, Linden, and Salemwood. We had an amazing advisory committee that was assembled to review those proposals. And yes, members Rose Iberg and member Piazza were very instrumental to that effort, but we also had Nikisha Dolly, who is currently a remote site coordinator at Salemwood and an employee at Forestdale, Ray Garcia, who is principal at Linden, Rachel Gordon, who is a caregiver at Forestdale, Riaz Haq, who is a caregiver at Linden, Principal Van from Salemwood, Dr. Sarah McLaughlin, our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Tony Mertz, our Director of Finance and Operations, and of course our 2 school committee members. They put in a lot of hours to review voluminous proposals and judge them by the criteria that were set in the RFP and have a lot of dialogue. They also visited 2 of the vendors' programs to actually see things on the ground for themselves, and I'm very, very grateful for all of the work that they put in. They ultimately recommended, based on all of their assessments, that AlphaBest, which is the organization that they had the most compelling proposal to meet the needs of our children here in Malden, our families. And subsequent to them giving us that recommendation or submitting that recommendation, then the procurement office in the city unsealed the financial proposals that the 3 organizations had submitted, and AlphaBest was the most competitive of the 3. So with that, I am requesting that the committee accept that recommendation from that whole process. We are very eager to begin working with AlphaBest to formalize the contract with them as described in the RFP, but then also to begin the next steps of figuring out staff and also registering families for the fall, because a lot of families are very eager to know what's going to be happening. And with
questions of our soup? Any questions? Let's go to Ms. Spatafora.
And I would ask Ms. Mertz and Dr. McLaughlin, if you're ready, just if needed, be ready to come up. Thank you.
Hopefully they're not needed. So I do want to say thank you, because I know I requested additional information be provided in regards to the RFP, and I think it was exactly what I know I was looking for. So I was happy to see that financial breakdown for all 3. I think my only question really is what is the capacity that AlphaBest is able to provide per school for students interested, or parents, caregivers interested in enrolling their students in either after or before school programming?
Ms. Mertz?
Well, in answer to that question, we hope it's a lot more. They do accept vouchers. So we're hoping to increase enrollment via vouchers that we currently don't accept now, and they also have sliding scale. That's a lot more affordable than we are currently offering.
Can I continue? Thank you. Will they, is this vendor looking to hire any current employees teachers that are with us to work, or would they be
So-
bringing in their own employees?
So as part of the RFP, we asked for some preferential treatment for our staff that want to work the after-school program. I can't guarantee, but it was written into the RFP.
Okay. Okay. And then just basics hours.
So we're offering more extended hours, along with hours during school vacation weeks and summer that goes up until mid-August. So it would go an extra 2 to 3 weeks. So it's about 8 weeks in the summer, 8 to 10 weeks, depending on when we get out versus the current program that only runs 5 weeks.
And this contract would be starting in
It would start in
August,
September.
September.
August, right? First day of school. So
Yep.
for us, it'd be in August, but yes, it would start in August.
Okay. Thank you.
And I would just, if I could add, they're also offering some drop-in services for parents that have a need that's unexpected, as well as the professional development days during the school year.
Wait.
Mr. Piazza.
Just like to, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to add, in response to Member Spatafora's questions. So for the new vendor, they'll be licensed under EEC protocols, which requires a 1 to 13 ratio of student to staff. And so my understanding is that they will see how many registrations we get and then hire to fill positions based on that 1 to 13 ratio. That was true of all of the vendors that we looked at. In addition to what Ms. Mertz said about how the RFP required priority for current staff, I will say, as somebody who reviewed all the RFPs, that the emphasis on hiring from the community came out strongest in this. And that was a very high priority for me as somebody who, like my kids, go to most and really enjoy it. And so I was really happy to see that emphasis in their proposal. One big change would be that after-school programming could run as late as 6 p.m. Right now it stops at 5:30. I think that allows more options for parents, of course. And they seem to be flexible about the summertime programming in terms of the number of weeks. It would still be the same where you buy per week, but there were assurances that they said they could run as many weeks as we want in the summertime.
Thank you. Ms. Horty.
Thank you. Couple questions as a former most parent. I'm not sure how you see that. One of the issues, and I'm glad you brought it up, Ms. McDonald, was that or McLaughlin, sorry. Sorry. Oftentimes, unexpected issues, parent out of town situation, they have a protocol for that, and that is something that can happen, both with before school care and after school care?
I think so.
It sounded like that. Yes, I mean, we didn't
Okay.
dig into like how they register parents for that.
I just
but
wanted to know if
some
that was an
flexibility,
option.
Again, in keeping with those ratios, they would have flexibility to accept some drop-ins.
One of the things that used to be really intensely frustrating as a parent is that even if you signed up for the most program, whenever the enrollment was open, that your student didn't actually start after-school programming until after they had been at school for a week. We ran into this multiple times. My mother-in-law was imported for that week for many, many, many years. So it could have been solved. Most maybe isn't doing that anymore, but I just want to make sure that Alpha Best or whatever we go with is also not doing that.
We've asked them to start on day 1.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Anybody else? Ms. Spatafora?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the last time. That, as a former most parent, that just sparked the special needs, our students with special needs. And I'll be quite honest, in the past, it's been difficult at times to be able to send our students to after-school programming because maybe the staff didn't have the right training. I was outrightly denied because my child needed a one-to-one at one point, so we couldn't even attend. Was there any discussions on special needs? turn it over to Pete.
He's shaking his head, we're like, yes, there was, lots of discussion.
I mean, Pete, Sharon, I want to thank both of them actually for being a part of this process and being a voice for the committee. You know, being able to really ask these questions and bring it to us, so.
I will say that there was a lot of attention to this very question, and it's also something that came up just in the natural course of our visit. We did a site visit to an Alpha Best program. In terms of like the protocols that they have in place, it felt very robust in terms of like there's a sequence of meetings that they will do with parents, with caregivers, with teachers in order to understand and essentially develop something like an individualized educational plan, but for the after-school setting, you know? And so we felt confident about the kind of support services that they were going to offer students with special needs. Now, when we were visiting, there was a student who I can't comment on whether or not that student is on an IEP, but that student was, their air conditioner had broke in their gym, and the student had a lot of pent-up energy, like a lot of pent-up energy. And they were inside the cafeteria to do this alternative activity. And I think that the care that they directed towards that student really went a long way towards me having faith in them as a vendor.
Thank you. Ms. Rose Iberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to just make the comment and add on. I get the same feel. I did not be able to go in person and see the program, but in their written material, it was addressed quite consistently and frequently because the program should be accessible to everybody who needs it. I would like to see that definitely become highlighted if we do end up indeed going forward. I would like that made very clear to Alpha Best what our expectations are in that area.
Okay, thank you. Why don't we strike while the iron's hot? So we're going to pull this one up for motions and resolutions. If there's no objection, chair hears objection. Chair has none. Motion by Mr. Piazza, seconded by Ms. Rose Zyberg to accept extended day and summer programming RFP. Questions on that? Why don't we call the roll on this one?
Mr. Drummy?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Spatafora?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin?
Yes.
Ms. Horty?
Yes.
Mr. Piazza?
Yes.
Mr. Bernard?
Yes.
Mr. Rose Iberg? Mayor Christensen?
Yes, that carries unanimously. All right, everyone. Now let's go to subcommittee reports and discussions. Let's first hear from Ms. Rose Zyberg, what's been going on in the policy subcommittee.
Again, thank you, Mr. Chair. Policy met on May 21st. We discussed policy JFBB, which is school choice. MASC has issued an update. The areas were, and something that we actually had discussed at our last meeting, includes changing words that would be that any sibling of a student already enrolled in the district shall receive priority for admission. This would be if we switched from our current status of not being school choice. So it's a word change there and adding that in. Importantly, they added a definition of race and updated the legal references to this policy, different than what we had had. We did come out with a unanimous vote on that, recommending to send that to the full committee to amend our current policy to include these changes. We then discussed policy JKAA. Our current policy is titled Physical Restraints of Students. The MASC title for JKAA is Timeout, Seclusion, and Physical Restraints of Students. So a little bit of a title change there. These changes, DESE came out with new requirements and new updates to this policy, which have to be in place by August 17th. So there is the need for us to make some decisions around this. Again, the MASC model policy does reflect the state updates. I did speak very briefly to Assistant Superintendent McDonald, who had said that she was comfortable with going with the MASC policy, was aware of it, and aware of procedures that need to be going into place with this adoption. Again, it's something that is mandated by the state, so there's not a lot of leeway on that. That was a unanimous vote to recommend that we do amend our current policy to reflect these changes. With the condition, though, When we looked at our policy and at the MASC policy, the feeling of the full committee was that we actually want to go into more detail, that there are some sort of general areas that we think need to be fleshed out a bit more. Our hope would be that if we do adopt to go forward, which we believe will happen tonight, with having the total policy review, this would become something that we would be working with fairly right out of the starting gate. But we are bringing it forward with that condition that we do believe that it does need more tweaking to be very specific for Malden. There are two additional policies that we discussed that night. One is JLCD, which is administration of medication to students, and the second is a new one from MASC, JLCDC, which is self-administering of medications. Some of the changes that were included in the first one, it actually was the first time, I guess, that they've included, and I'm sorry if I'm not getting this right, the terminology, but the anti-opioid medications such as Narcan, and what it would need to train people to have that in our schools so that if it's needed, it can be administered, was one of the changes on that. We did realize that with our policy and the new one that they have proposed, going through item by item and trying to make sure that we have everything all covered is a bit difficult with just how it is currently set up. And we do think that in particular, because this is with medications, we actually want to bring in discussions with the Board of Health and the new head of the nursing for the schools. So we actually decided on that when we were waiting to look into, hopefully, working with MASC to really pinpoint, again, making this policy very specific to Malden, which is sort of the norm. It doesn't specify even in the model policy, is over-the-counter medicines the same thing as a prescription medicine? When you're saying a child can self-administer, what does that mean? Does that mean Tylenol? Does that mean a prescription? It's not spelled out, so we're hoping to get sort of that type of feedback from MASC and help us craft this into what we feel would be best for the district. So again, we are hoping that that will go forward, and we adjourned at 7:36.
Very good. Thank you. Ms. Spatafor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Finance Subcommittee, and if you don't mind, Mr. Chair, I think because we're going to talk about this in motions and resolutions, can I give a more overall?
Sure.
To be able to lead into that?
Of course.
The Finance Subcommittee met February 23rd, April 2nd, May 14th, May 20th, and then the committee entirely met for our public hearing on May 28th for the FY27 budget. This year, the 2027 required net school spending is projected at $394,726. Of that amount, projected Chapter 70 aid from the Commonwealth is $70 million, while the required local contribution is projected at $64 million. And that is, the FY27 budget is still pending state legislature final approval. Our biggest increases to the budget this year is going to come from contractual obligations, out of district tuition, special education transportation, special education contracted services, short-term substitutes, and staffing adjustments. But we are also happy to be able to add several proposed staffing additions, an additional program manager for specialized instruction within special education, and I think that was really an important move for the district after hearing the results of the audit. In addition, a science coach at Malden High School and an additional STEM coach will be added. Committee members, I think, really tackled this year's budget with a lot of really, really great questions in which Ms. Mertz was able to throw it right back at us. So I really appreciate the work that went into from, meeting with principals, meeting with directors, meeting with everybody really to say, what do you need? What can we work with what we have to ensure, again, I think the focus for this district has always been to make sure that the student has exactly what they need and that we're meeting those needs. So I think the FY 2027 budget does do that. I think that's all I have.
Okay, very good. Any questions? Because we're going to jump right to the budget. All right, so why don't we do this first? Ms. Spatafor, you're going to make the motion to adopt.
Absolutely.
Seconded by Mr. Drummy. All right, everybody, any questions, queries, qualms? You've had it for a while. Seeing none, let's call the roll on this one. Oh, he's too late. Just kidding. Take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Still getting my whole situation, organized over here as a new school committee member. I appreciate all of the work that has gone into the budget, and I know that it is obviously one of the most important and fundamental pieces of school committee policy that we'll talk about. I have a few questions that I am pulling up here on my computer that I'd like to just hear a little bit more detail about. Now, we mentioned that out of district tuition has gone up pretty considerably. And as I was fumbling through my comments, I was looking for the exact dollar figure. I don't have it in front of me. But I'm just curious, I know that the increase was more than 100% over last year in terms of the cost that we're spending on out-of-district tuition, and I'm wondering what the source of that is. So more students are attending school outside of our district.
Ms. Mertz, and you've had this document, right, for a while?
Oh, yeah, I've had this document, yeah.
So there are a couple of pieces to that.
Yeah.
We do have additional.
Ms. Mertz, can you just speak into the microphone,
sorry.
please?
So we do have additional students attending out of district, but there's also cost increases that the out of district schools can charge. Most of that is dictated by OSD, which is a division of the government. They don't have to stay within a 2.5% or 3% like we do. So a lot of your collaboratives went up about 4%, and some of your privates went up as high as 14, and one was 30% increase for an individual. We don't dictate those, so those are done through OSD.
There is also, every so many years, schools can go for what's called a program review, and they can go beyond that, and that is the 30%, and there's actually a few of them that are doing this year. They rewrite all of their programming, and then they charge additional amounts of money.
Right.
They basically can charge what they want.
So then just to be clear, because now I found the numbers, in FY 2026, we were spending about $91.5 million. That's gone up to almost $91,500. That's gone up to almost $246,000, an increase of about 169%.
So that is in district, so that is students who are going to another public school.
Right.
Right, so we used to have one student, now we have 4. As of this year, we have 4 students going to a public school that has, I believe Horace Mann in Boston is taken.
Horace Mann is a public day.
Yeah.
Haverhill had them. I think Salem has some, different districts have them, and they charge tuition, and they run specialized programs. The Horace Mann is for students that are hearing impaired or deaf.
And so that increase from 1 to 4 students is what explains the increase in the dollar value there for tuition within state?
Yes.
Okay, got it. I have 2 other questions. I was looking back at the district report card from DESE, And one of the things that I notice is that our digital literacy and computer science courses are lower than the state average in terms of the number or the percentage of students who are completing digital literacy and computer science courses in our district. And so I'm wondering about how the budget this year kind of like speaks to or would allow us to increase that percentage so that it's closer to the state average.
Yeah, hi, Mr. Piazza. So one thing I just wanted to mention is that I think I mentioned to you in a conversation that we have our courses at the high school and throughout our system that are identified by a state code. And I just spoke with our staff, our data analysts today, to just get a firm handle on all of the courses that we have that are already aligned with that code. Because it could be that there are offerings that we have that are not properly identified that we would be able to claim, if you will, to make sure that we're getting credit for all of the work that we are doing in that area. Having said that, we also, we do intend to look at our scope and sequence for digital learning and digital literacy and computer science, K-12, as a part of our strategic plan. Probably not this coming year because the state is going to be revising its framework for digital literacy and computer science. But in the process of doing that, look at how we can expand that access for students from the early grades all the way up.
Thank you. Last question is about, also from the DESE report card. I noticed that our advanced coursework completion dropped from 77% of students in the 2024 school year to 45% in the 2026 school year. That feels like a fairly dramatic drop, and I'm wondering how staffing or changes in the budget will help us to reverse that so that more students are taking advanced coursework.
Yeah, before you joined the committee, Mr. Piazza, I think last winter I informed the members of the committee that we had discovered an error in the coding of courses that we had reported for the high school. And for several years, there was a course that many of our 12th graders take, which is statistics, that was miscoded as an advanced course when in fact it is not. AP statistics counts as an advanced course, but regular statistics does not. And we contacted DESE about this error. We were very transparent about it, and they helped us to revise our reports to make sure that that advanced coursework number was accurate for this current year, which did. The course-taking patterns were largely comparable to what they were the prior year, but because that course was coded properly, the advanced coursework number dropped dramatically. We are committed to, both through dual enrollment and through advanced placement, to see as many students take advanced coursework as possible. That's a part of the strategic plan. We think it's a very, very important achievement that students can have to prepare them for whatever they want to do next, but especially if they aspire to post-secondary education. I think that the investment that we're making this year with the double math in Math 1 is going to be a very important way to make sure as many students as possible are not only prepared for possibly taking AP Calculus, but also for taking other advanced placement courses as well.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to Ms. Rose Iberg.
Thank you. Mine was not really so much a question as just a comment that when we were working through things, and some, Mr. Piazza would address some of your questions, we are trying to work to update some of the forms that Ms. Mertz has had to use because they are outdated. There are positions that say one thing, mean a different thing. So we had a lot of questions with going back and forth. I found different things from one source and you couldn't find it in the other one. As well as we raised the questions of sometimes the topics that'll say, general teachers. And when we're looking at equity between all of our schools, I know I had a lot of questions with, well, wait, it says general. I know one school does have a theater teacher, but I have no way of finding it. So we're looking at ways to fine tune things so it gives the general public as well that bit of information. And also, it can be difficult when you're looking just at salaries. We don't know, is that, somebody at the high end, you're retiring year, or is that two entry-level positions? So looking to get a little more information into the forms was one of the things that we talked a lot about in the meetings.
Thank you. Let's do it.
Sorry, do we have a motion?
Ms. Spatafora made it,
And
seconded by Mr. Drummy.
Thank you. Mr. Drummy?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Spatafora?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin?
Yes.
Ms. Horty?
Yes.
Mr. Piazza?
Yes.
Mr. Bernard? Mr. Rose Iberg? Mayor Christensen?
Yes, that carries unanimously. All right, next up, nomination confirmation of the vice chair. So going to nominate Keith Bernard as the vice chair. Is there a second to that? I don't even know if I need a second, but if we do, Mr. Piazza. Any questions, queries, qualms? Ms. Spatafora.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just are you supposed to step down from the chair position when you're?
Didn't say that in the policy. Suppose I could if it would help the members, but.
I always thought whenever the chair has a business that you always step away. You can't make a motion from the chair, but okay.
It depends. Does the rest of the membership need that? Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Rose Iberg.
When we looked into this, we actually did not have a specific policy in place to address when something like this has happened, because this is done after we're all sworn in. So at that time, I had asked the chair what policy they would be following, and they had indicated that they would go with that, which under that, it is that the chair makes a nomination.
Right. And
But again, I agree, but I don't know
I wasn't talking
that-
about just
right.
this. In particular, our policy states that when the chair has any business before the committee, that they step down, but that's fine.
Yeah, and if the nomination doesn't pan out, then we can open it up, so. All right, you all set, Madam Clerk? So there's the nomination. Let's see, it's been seconded. Any other questions, everyone? Okay, let's call the roll on Ms. Spatafora.
I'm sorry, I wasn't
Oh.
finished, so. We usually have conversations about this, so I was just curious. Anybody else show interest in the position?
Yes.
And okay. And why Mr. Bernard for your nomination?
He had the most seniority of the people that expressed interest.
Okay. I don't want to put you on the, I'm going to put you on the spot. Because I just know Ms. Rose Iberg has chaired numerous committees, and I guess I personally expected that to be a nomination. She's put in a lot of work as well. I'm not saying Mr. Bernard has not over the past 5 years or so now. So I was just honestly surprised that she was not a choice.
She wasn't a choice because she didn't express interest by the timeline that I asked people to let me know whether or not they were interested. All right, any other questions? Ms. Macklin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just wanted to express that I, too, was kind of astounded and disappointed that a conversation was not had with Ms. Rose Iberg. Certainly, Mr. Bernard is a good friend, a buddy, but I think a lot of us thought that Ms. Rose Iberg would have been the clear choice and not to have a direct, just direct engagement about her interest. I mean, this whole process of, having to express in email who was interested and who was not seemed like a departure from how we nominated the vice chair in the past. And I understand that it's the chair's responsibility or you're tasked with doing that. But the previous 2 times, it was the committee who actually made the nomination.
Right.
So because I'm really confused about the process and disappointed that Ms. Rose Zyberg just did not have a conversation about the role. I think that she's deserving of the role. She's put in a ton of work. I just don't know where I fall on this evening.
Sure. Well, respectfully, I don't know why you're astounded. I mean, I sent an email to ask who was interested. 2 people on the committee expressed interest. I mean, it's not rocket science.
It's not rocket science, but she...
If I could just finish my statement, Ms. Macklin.
Certainly.
I think the difference here is this hasn't occurred before where someone stepped down midterm. You're right about we would typically do this as a body at the inaugural, but this is the first time that I can remember when someone stepped back, and so we just wanted to fill the remainder of the term. That's why it was different from how we typically do it. And if it's not what you believe should have happened, we can vote no on the nomination and open it up and go from there. But I think the goal is just to try to fill the expiring term.
And that would be for the remainder of the school term or the remainder of the year?
The 2-year term, which I think now I forget is about a year and a few months.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions, queries, qualms? Mr. McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just very, very quick. I'd like to hear from the candidate, Mr.
Sure.
Bernard, if he has a statement that he has prepared.
Sure.
Any comments as to why he feels like he wants to be in the role as vice chair as a leadership?
Sure. Mr. Bernard?
Sure. I was on a work trip when I saw the email come from our vice chair, and it kind of stunned me that this was happening. And it was something that I had considered back at the beginning, that I was looking at what I currently had for workload, family responsibilities, other situations going on. And I said, you know what, I'm not going to go and, Ms. Betafora had gone and reached out to me and say, hey, would you support me? And I said, yeah, absolutely, I'll go and I'll support you. And I didn't want to go in and do that, but it had been going on in my head that maybe I wanted to go and do this. And when this opportunity came along, I had a conversation with my wife, and we said, hey, we think you can do this. And so that's why I went and I sent the email to Gary to say, hey, I'm interested. Gary gave me the chair, I apologize. The chair had a conversation with me, and I said, look, I think that I can go and I can do this role. I think that I can go and represent us as vice chair, but there's no ego in this for me. This is whatever's going to be the best for not just the school committee, not just the schools, but also for the city of Malden. And I hope that I could go and I could represent all of us very well. But ultimately, the choice is the chair's on who he nominates. And if it's not me, I will continue to do my job. I will continue to go and work with whoever is put forth as the vice chair. And I want to go and just be on the record that, hey, I understand that other people may have had interest, and I don't mean to go and step beyond anyone's seniority. If they had gone and presented their name, or if they had come to me and said, hey, I was kind of thinking of going and doing this, the likelihood is that I might have gone and said, you know what, I'm going to withdraw my name.
All
did
right.
not happen. So I'm just hoping that you can trust that I'm going to be fair for the remainder of the term. And come next election cycle, we will go and we'll see what goes and happens, and we may have a large number of changes, we may not. And we go and we see, at that point, if someone else is interested, I am happy to go and say I will go and support them, because I think it's an experience we should all get a shot at. Thank you.
Well, it's a good thing we took the budget up before this, it looks like. Are there any other questions, queries, qualms, concerns? All right, motion's been made, it's been seconded. Let's do this. Let's call the roll.
Mr. Drummy?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Spatafora?
No.
Ms. Macklin?
Abstaining.
Ms. Horty? Mr. Piazza?
Yes.
Mr. Bernard?
Yes.
Ms. Rosa-Iberg? Mayor Christensen?
Yes.
That is a 6.
611. All right, I have 611. All right, so congratulations, and look forward to working with you. All right, everyone, next up, acceptance of $100 donation to the Malden High School Band. Ms. Spatafora.
Thank you. So I have a $100 donation made by Mr. Christensen to the Malden High School Band in the amount of $100.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Spatafora, seconded by Mr. Bernard. And this was just because of their hard work at Memorial Day, which I was so impressed that they not only came, but they performed in the rain and stayed for the entire ceremony. So let's call the roll.
Mr. Drummy?
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes.
Ms. Spatafora?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin?
Yes.
Ms. Horty?
Yes.
Mr. Piazza?
Yes.
Mr. Bernard?
Yes.
Mr. Rosa-Iberg? Mayor Christensen?
Yes, that carries unanimously. Next up, Ms. Spatafora, school improvement plans.
So the superintendent took us through those. So I would like to just make a motion to approve and adopt the FY27 school improvement plans.
Seconded by Mr. McCarthy. Any questions, everyone? Any remaining questions on this? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it, that carries unanimously. All right, Ms. Rosa-Iberg, school choice.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This would be a motion to amend the current policy JFBB over to the, you've got the recommended changes that I went over, that is about any sibling of a student already enrolled in the district shall receive priority for admission, clarification on the definition of race, as well as updates on the legal references. So the motion is to adopt the changes that are proposed.
Motion by Ms. Rosa-Iberg, seconded by Ms. Horty. Any remaining questions, everyone? Mr. Piazza.
Just want to be totally clear about what we'd be voting on in a second. Also, thank you, Mr. Chair. Sorry.
No,
I just jumped into it.
Please.
So because we voted last time to not join the school choice program, the way I'm understanding this, but please correct me if it's wrong, is that we're essentially just updating the language for the thing that we decided already that we're not going to do.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Piazza, for clarifying. Anybody else? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. That carries unanimously. Let's stay with Ms. Rosa-Iberg on timeout, seclusion, and restraint.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This also, a policy JKAA would be to motion to amend our current JKAA. So this would include actually retitling it, making and accepting the recommended updates that would put us in compliance with the DESE guidelines that need to be in place by August 17th.
Okay. Motion made, seconded by Mr. Drummy. Any questions? Take it away, Mr. Piazza.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. Member Rose Seiberg mentioned this in our discussion of it earlier, that there's opportunities to go beyond what MASC has required us to do. Of course, MASC bases their recommendations on state law, and if you've paid attention to the Boston Globe recently, you know that there are discussions about amending state law related to timeout rooms. And one of those pieces in particular is that state law right now does not require parents to be notified if their children are put into a timeout room. And this happened in a recent story where a child was put in a timeout room as many as 40 times without a parent being notified. I think this is something where we can go beyond in Malden what the state has set for us. And so I'd like to make a motion to include parent notification about use of timeout rooms into the policy that we're considering.
Well, that's a significant change, right, Ms. Rosenberg, or?
The part that, if you recall earlier when you talked about the discussion that we had, what we wanted to do is accept this and then make this top priority. We're hoping that tonight we will be voting to accept the adoption of having the whole policy review go through, because we also do, before I would do something like that, I frequently use our own in-house attorney through the SPED department has one that I will have a legal go through, so before we do changes that might have legal implications, I'm just putting that there. We run it through legal as well, just to make sure that on our end that our lawyers are okay with that.
So then we'll be voting on not accepting the policy as written. We'll be voting on whether or not we're going to review the policy.
No, the motion would be to, this is the amended policy, so amend our current policy to accept the worded, that you got the amended policy suggestion, which had all of the information about timeout, seclusion, physical restraint, because there were changes that were made. This one does satisfy the current requirements, so we meet that. And then we actually did talk to fellow members of actually continuing through the summer if the adoption goes through of being able to do the contract policy service. We would be working through the summer to start really getting this going. This was one that we had a lot of input also into it. But again, to make a policy without, and making a change at this point without running it through legal, I would not feel comfortable with that.
Yeah, so I would hold that thought.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and any concerns, obviously, send them through. That's what it's, it was why we had some trepidation on this, but where we have the August deadline, yeah.
Yeah, I understand that, as long as we, and it sounds like we're all sort of on the
All
same
in
page
agreement.
about
Absolutely in
keeping
agreement.
parent notification on the table when it comes to use
Yeah.
of timeout rooms.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Any other questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. That carries unanimously. All right. Who's speaking on this? Ms. Rosenberg, Ms. Spatafor. This is on MASC Contract Policy Service. Let's go to
Tag team.
Ms. Spatafor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am only going to speak to the financial portion of this, just because this did sit in the finance subcommittee as well as the policy subcommittee. So finance did meet to discuss to make sure that this was just financially doable for the district. The payment requirement is, I believe it was $3,500 at the signing of the contract, and then an additional $3,500 payment, I think 1 year in, and then a final payment when services have been completely rendered. Ms. Mertz was able to build in the full amount into this year's budget. The full contract is $10,500. So we were happy to, it has to be done. It's so desperately needed for a policy to be reviewed. So financially, this is an investment, and the passed unanimously.
Good. Thank you. Ms. Rosenberg.
We know that I've been pushing for updating our policy manual for a number of years now. This is spelled out, we've talked to them. I know that it's interesting that you can go is they will work with us and meet whatever schedule we need. They work with people right now who even do virtual appointments once a week for an hour. They will do them whatever we need. We can also jump around and make and prioritize whichever things we think are most important. We have discussed in subcommittees that we do think that Section J, with our student-facing things, just like Mr. Piazza just pointed out, there are things that are student-facing. We would probably want to prioritize those. So it is a motion to accept the proposal for the policy manual development, to accept that, that we go forward with that.
Motion made, seconded by Ms. Spatafora. Any questions, team? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, the ayes have it, that carries unanimously. All right, Ms. Rosenberg, let's go over the handbook.
Thank you. This was a request that I put this on at the request of the superintendent for passing the Student Families and Caregivers Handbook. We did all receive sort of the executive summary, but I can hand it over to Dr. Sipple to review that.
Thank you, Ms. Rosenberg. So what you have before you is, there's an executive summary in your packets this evening. The full document was shared with you as a PDF over last week. Our legal counsel, Ms. Rogers, assisted us in reviewing both this document and the other document we'll be looking at next, just to make sure that there's accuracy that includes the legal and policy requirements that have been updated and removal of outdated information. And then one thing I wanted to add or just note is that we had a lot of work that was done this year by that Artificial Intelligence and Learning Working Group. Those recommendations are going to be coming. We'll be sharing those, we hope, with the Technology Subcommittee very soon. And those recommendations and those policy notes have not yet been included in the handbook, but when we have those recommendations, we'll be making further revisions to the handbook accordingly. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Questions? Motion by Ms. Rosenberg.
I actually had a question.
Yeah, I just want to get the motion on the floor, Ms. Rosenberg. Seconded by
We did already.
Ms. Horty. All right, you had a question for our soup?
Yes, because I know that we expected to have the AI language by the end of the school year. Do you have sort of that in place? And I'm curious how this impacts. I know most of our stuff is always online now. I don't know if you do printed copies to folks, but where people are going to be signing this, what is our time frame on that? Or we would need to be having a special meeting to incorporate the AI information, which I do think is important to have some semblance of it in the current policy.
Yeah. Thank you. So we do anticipate having those recommendations as far as adjustments or tweaks to, for example, our policy on academic integrity and plagiarism, or our acceptable use policy, specifying certain things that are specific to AI in that policy. The current policy that we have does include the, I know there was a question that Member Piazza asked earlier today regarding the list of digital tools that we have. That is on our website, and unlike last year, it does actually reflect student data privacy agreements that we have in place with those vendors. It's always going to be a moving target, especially with the technology advancing as much as it is. But we do anticipate probably by the time school starts in the fall that we'll have updates that reflect that work.
Thank you.
All right, motion's been made, it's been seconded. Any other questions, team? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it, that carries unanimously. All right, let's take a look at this plan, Bullying Prevention and Intervention Plan. Ms. Rosenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, this was one that Superintendent Sippel brought to me to put on. It does indicate some changes that would be made in our current plan. One of the specifics is that we had adopted Health Smart as a health and wellness curriculum, a fillable version of the bullying prevention intervention incident reporting form, where there's links for that, accuracy check, removal of outdated information. Can turn it over to Dr. Sippel, but that in a nutshell is what the changes are.
Thank you, Ms. Member Rose-Iberg. And again, our legal counsel that helps us with student-facing documents and policies did help us with this. I asked Assistant Superintendent McDonald just to speak to it briefly because this kind of update is something that needs to be done on a regular basis.
Every 2 years we have to review it. It is following DESI's model plan. It follows, so does the form in it. So while we did two things. We have looked through DESI's model programs and model forms and copied that, as well as had our legal counsel review it with us.
Thank you, Ms. McDonald.
Thank you. Any other questions? Ms. Spatafora. Stand by, Ms. Spatafora. Let me just get this light off. There we go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just curious, because we just received this, obviously not, when I say just, I don't want to say like it came late or anything, but it's just a document that we hadn't seen. I haven't seen it in policy. I will be honest with you, I am a little hesitant on approving it. There's some information in it that like, deadlines to complete the investigation. So it says that we will plan to start investigations within 24 hours of an incident, but it doesn't specify a timeline of how long, when we will notify families. Like, I just feel like it could.
One second.
It could use a little bit more work, and I don't know what that looks like because this is more procedural than policy, but also we have to follow policy. So are we aligned with our policies in this packet of procedurals?
So my understanding is that this was approved 2 years ago. It is supposed to be approved every 2 years. And this is the 2 years are up, and so that's why I wanted to get it approved. We can certainly look at it and put more in-depth things in it. It is the one that sort of follows DESI's plan. I'm venturing to guess that if you looked at many school systems, they use the same one because they mostly all legally go by what DESI offers. I mean, if we want to tweak it, we absolutely can. We were just sort of doing our due diligence to have it updated and have it re-approved by the school committee as we're required to do every 2 years.
All right, Ms. Spatafora, you stand by for a couple of questions here?
Absolutely.
Let's see. Mr. Piazza, and then we'll go back to you, Ms. Rose-Iberg, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have a few, to sort of echo Ms. Spatafora's comments, I do have a few concerns about moving forward with this tonight. Again, not because we didn't receive it in enough time, but because we did, and I looked at it, and I have a few questions about it. One is that the language hinges on the word parent pretty regularly, and I don't know how narrowly that is going to be interpreted. And I want to make sure that the language is broad enough for students whose caregivers are not their primary parents. Maybe that's an easy one, but nonetheless, it's still an important thing for us to make clear in the language. But my main concern with it is, to your point, you know, we review these every 2 years, and the last 2 years have been an unprecedented time in the world of cyberbullying, unfortunately. And the growth in that time has been stunning. And I would like to see a document that reflects those concerns. And so that particular language is something I'd like to look at, run it through legal, whatever we need to do in order to make sure that our policies are keeping up with the fast pace of this issue.
I think just as a general rule, whenever cyberbullying, we had a case just recently, whenever it comes up and it shows up in our schools, we still follow the same procedures.
All set?
Yeah.
Thank you. Ms. Rose-Iberg?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Basically backing up what my fellow committee folks have brought up, I was curious and actually talked to Dr. Sippel a little bit about this, that based on this own document, it says every 4 years, beginning with 2015-2016 school year, the district will administer a student survey to assess school climate and the prevalence, nature, and severity of bullying in our schools. While we didn't do one specifically, I understand that was a portion of one that was done, and that we also were supposed to be administering a survey to faculty, staff, and parents, guardians to assist in determining school climate needs. So I'm curious if that one was done as well. And also to look at this potentially, because this one says every 4 years, we have to update the document every 2, but just to try to make sure that we're on a schedule where we're actually doing these surveys so that they can be applied to the, the 2-year process.
I think the last time we did it, if my memory is correct, is when we had Panorama a few years back, is the last time we did it. I would have to check the exact year. With Charlie Conifrey and Erin Craven had done that survey, and I think that was the last time we approved it 2 years ago, but I would have to double check that.
Okay.
My memory is not always.
So, if I may, Mr. Chair, we did include some questions about bullying, campus climate, safety in the student survey that we just completed within the last few weeks. We do not have that data to present to you this evening. I guess, if I might, one thing I would suggest is, I mentioned earlier in response to your question about the student handbook and the AI working group. I mean, the bullying and the bullying policy is one of the areas also that work is very relevant to, because of all of the things that are happening in that sphere with AI. So I think that we would be ripe to revisit this with, in light of the recommendations we have from the AI working group. And then also, we could also look at the survey data that we do have with the intent of doing something more comprehensive next year.
All right, so what's the pleasure of the committee? Is there a motion to Ms. Rose-Iberg?
I'm sorry, I just had one more quick question or kind of comment, and just to put it out there. Former school committee member Michelle Luong, current city councilor, had asked me about, and she has scoured trying to find information, and Assistant Superintendent McDonald had some, but just to also see in here, because apparently at some point the school committee had adopted the Sandy Hook promise. Okay, you're all nodding. And she's been looking for it and trying to see where that is in anything. So just saying some people have good memories with that. So just putting that out there as another thing with just some questions.
We do still work with Sandy Hook. I had a meeting with them a week ago. I'd have to ask, look at my calendar, but we did just speak to them. We still have an MOU with them. We still work with them. I believe myself, Dr. Sippel, and Ms. Basine are the 3 emergency 911 contacts that are always on call to get a phone call if something happens. The last one I got, that was, the tips will come in, they will come into our social workers or principals via email, but if there is something more serious, it will come to the 3 of us during text, and I believe the last one was over Christmas break. Sergeant O'Brien gave me a call about an issue, and I helped him work it through.
Just relaying that one for the former school committee member. Thank you.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the committee? Sounds like we need some more time here, and you're not opposed to that?
Not at all.
Okay. Motion to table by Ms. Spatafora, seconded by Ms. Rose-Iberg.
Hold on.
I'm sorry. I'd actually like to make a motion to send it to policy,
Sure.
not just a table.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, motion to send to policy. It was seconded by Ms. Rose-Iberg, I think, right? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it, that carries unanimously. All right, party people. Next up, personal privilege, left to right. Anybody on my left? Mr. Bernard.
Well, first of all, I do want to thank you for the vote, and I hope that I can earn your confidence over the next bit. So thank you for voting me in as vice chair. Reach out to me if you have any questions, concerns. Number two, more importantly, because I can't go and do this next week, happy birthday to my wife, because she's going, her birthday is next Monday. And also, just to go and say, because of the presentation earlier today, happy Pride to anyone that is celebrating, and make sure that we've got some dates here, but the ones that are important to me is on June 23rd at 6:30. There's a Visual for Trans Lives at Coitmore Lay, and of course on 6/28 from noon to 4, there is Pride in the Park at the same park.
Very good, thank you. Over to Mr. Piazza.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a few events from the Salemwood school community. Thursday of this week is, June 4th, the K4 Field Day, rain date on Friday. I will be there to cheer on my kindergartner and third grader. Thursday, June 11th, so following Thursday, is the K-8 Talent Show. That's at 6 p.m. in the auditorium at Salemwood. Monday, June 15th, grade 2 concert. That starts at 1:45. That's also in the auditorium. There's a lot of Salemwood events. Tuesday, June 16th, is the grade 4 concert, also 1:45 in the auditorium. Now we're on to Wednesday, June 17th. This is field day for grades 5 through 8. Grade 3 has its concert that day, also 1:45, also in the auditorium. On Thursday, June 18th, is the kindergarten concert, and we all know how adorable that's going to be. That's 1:45 in the K4 Cafe. Friday, June 19th, a reminder, because of to celebrate Juneteenth, there will be no school. There will be a large celebration that is organized by the Malden Juneteenth Coalition. Apologies if I got that name wrong. Ms. Van wanted to wish caregivers a happy Father's Day. You know I like that. Monday, June 22nd, is the grade 8 moving on ceremony. That's 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. in the gym. Doors open at 5 p.m. for seating for that. Then grade 8 students will have a dinner and dance that follows the moving on celebration. That's 6:30 to 9 p.m., also in the grade 5 cafe. Last announcement, Tuesday, June 23rd, last day of school, 11 a.m. dismissal. Ms. Van extends her thanks for a wonderful school year. Wishes everybody a great summer.
Great, thank you. Mr. Drummy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Real quick, PTO is, and Dr. Stahl from Ferryway. PTO Ice Cream Fridays is still on through the end of the school year. This Thursday and Friday is the third grade field trip. Tuesday the 9th will be the PTO and school site council meeting. That'll be, if you go to the Ferryway School PTO page, you'll see the link to hook up to. On Thursday, the 11th, is the kindergarten promotion ceremony. There's 2 of them, one at 11 and one at 1:15. Grade 8 is going to Canopy Lake on the 12th. Field day will be Tuesday and Wednesday, K through 4 on the 16th and 5 through 8 on the 17th. 8th graders having a pizza party on the 17th. Ferryway's 8th grade moving on ceremony for their 8th grade is going to be on the 22nd. And that is because Principal Stahl didn't give it to me. Hang on, I got it here someplace. I think it usually runs around 9 in the morning, so
Yeah,
we'll go with 9.
Yep.
We know that high school is having a graduation, excuse me, this Sunday, and congratulations to them. But also on June 4th is the Rise Senior Ceremony. Now, for those of you that haven't been, you got to attend, because you got some great stories from these seniors and how they attained to get their degree and what they did. If you haven't been, go. I'm telling you, it's worth the price of admission, which is free. and that is Thursday, the 4th, at 10 a.m. at the gallery at the high school. And happy Father's Day to those that need it, and have a good summer, kids, if I don't see you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Superintendent Sippel.
I just wanted to mention that when we recognized all of our retirees earlier, there was one important omission. We recognized our Unit C, our paraprofessionals, our education support professionals, and our educators. We did not recognize one of our administrators who's retiring, and that is Patty Tremendosi, Director of Nursing for many years, who we're going to miss dearly, and just wanted to apologize for that omission earlier and express our deep appreciation and congratulations to Patty Tremendosi, Director of Nursing. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Superintendent. Ms. Spatafora.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Superintendent, for that, because I know it was kind of in part of our discussions, and then when the name wasn't on the list, I was like, oh gosh, I hope we didn't get something wrong there. So let's see. I have got some dates coming out of BB. We have June 12th is the PTO bash. And then we will have a kindergarten celebration of learning on the 18th, along with our grade 8 afternoon in the park. The Great Malden Outdoors has teamed up with Bike to the Sea and Malden Rec Department to offer $5 Learn to Ride classes this July and August at the Linden STEAM Academy for kids and adults alike, and you do not have to have a bike, no issues, they have you covered. I want to say congrats to the Malden High School baseball team who made playoffs for the first time and won a playoff game, first time in, I believe it was 14 years. They ended up losing yesterday, but it was an amazing season with a lot of records broken, and I'm just gonna wish a personal congratulations to my high school senior graduate who will walk the stage on Sunday, Gino Spatafora. We're very proud of you.
All right, very good. Now over to Ms. Horty.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Lots of things going on at Forestdale coming up. This Friday, June 5th, from 5:30 to 7 is the annual PTO Spring Fling and Ice Cream Social for students in grades K to 2. Come down and enjoy a sweet treat and celebrate the end of the school year with your friends. The Forestdale Drama Club production of Annie is almost here. This year, there were so many interested students that they had to have 2 casts. So there will be 4 shows. Thursday, June 11th at 6, Friday, June 12th at 6, Saturday, June 13th at 12, and Saturday, June 13th at 2, all taking place in the auditorium. The spring band concert with Ms. Gorman and her students will be held on Tuesday, June 16th at 1:15 in the auditorium. The spring choral concert with Ms. Barber and her students will be held Thursday, June 18th at 1:15 in the auditorium. The 8th grade moving on ceremony will be held Thursday, June 18th at 5:30 p.m. in the gymnasium. Best of luck to the Forestdale 6th graders who are heading off to Nature's Classroom for the rest of this week, tomorrow morning. And congratulations to the Forestdale Falcons' inaugural Girls on the Run group. They braved the rain and wind on Saturday morning with the Salemwood Girls on the Run group for their first 5K and did it with Falcon pride. Thank you to the staff member coaches, Monica Leahy, Ariana Matthews, Lisa Sheridan, and Lillian Wong. And on another note, I would like to invite you all to a Malden Reads book discussion of the book Our Missing Hearts, led by me. On a Tuesday, June 23rd. The doors will open at 6:30. The discussion starts at 7. It will be held at St. Paul's Parish on Washington Street in Malden. This is going to come at the book discussion from a mother's and parents' perspective. For those of you who have already read the book, you'll understand why that is the case. Please join me. I'm looking forward to talking with everybody about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Ms. Macklin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is from Principal Rock and the ELC. Our students have accomplished a lot this year, and so from June 15th through the 18th, classrooms will host end-of-year celebrations, including special recognition for students transitioning to kindergarten. So I would suggest caretakers check with your student's teacher to see which date they'll be holding the celebration on. Families are also reminded that registration remains open for both kindergarten and the ELC for 26-27 school year. Children who will be 5 years old on or before August 31st are encouraged to register for kindergarten as soon as possible, and returning and new ELC students must also complete registration for next year. The PTO at the ELC is going to cap off another wonderful year, so families are invited to stay after dismissal on June 5th for an afternoon of playground fun and popsicles provided by the PTO. And Principal Rock thanks the dedicated staff, family, and volunteers for making this school year a success. And just from the high school, just wanted me to announce that the graduation is this Sunday with a rain date on Monday if necessary. And that's all I have.
Very good. All right, Ms. Rosenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the Linden, the 6th grade is running a food drive through June 5th. You can donate canned goods. They're looking for canned goods, dried pasta, cereal, rice, oats, breakfast bars, instant mac and cheese, non-perishable items. Those donations can go to Mr. Murray's room in C215. The tie-dye foam party was rescheduled to this Friday, June 5th. That will be from 3:30 to 5:30. It's $10 for the event. You need to bring your Linden shirt. There were new ones that came out, or you can bring any white shirt that you have to dye that. The Linden Park Playground Improvement Plan held its first community meeting. It's exciting that the funds were approved, so the park will be getting redone. They are looking for community input on that. The second community meeting will be Wednesday, June 17th at 6 p.m. That is virtual. Be on the lookout for information for that they will be getting out. The kindergarten celebration for Linden will be June 12th from 1:15 to 2:15. The grade 8 moving on ceremony will be 11 to 12 on June 18th. Field day is June 16th. The production of Cinderella has been rescheduled. That one is coming up. It's going to be like competing options for being able to see some great theater during this time. So on the 12th, it's from 6 to 8. And on the 13th, there are 2 shows, and that is 1 to 3 and 5 to 7. Those tickets, you have to use Eventbrite. They are $10 tickets. The 8th grade dance is on the same night as their moving on ceremony. That will be from 6 to 8 on the 18th. That is only for 8th graders. I do want to say Happy Pride Month. I do want to, hadn't planned on it, but just thank you to my fellow school committee members for the comments and recognition that you put forth tonight. I just appreciate that, and it's important for me to hear that from my peers, so thank you very much. I do want to give a special thanks. I said I would shout this out. I wrote some notes. Special thanks to teachers Jen Clapp and Ariana Masana at Malden High. They had extended an invitation for me to come and see workshops and performances that their students are being able to get involved with through the Levine Learning Lab through the American Repertory Theater. So I was able to go last week. The program it's a 3-week process. So the first one, ART comes to the students and they talk about whatever production is coming up next within the ART. Then the following week, the students go and do a workshop and see the production, and then it's followed by people from the ART coming back to the school. So I was able to see one of the workshops taking place, and fortunately, being this was the last one they were attending, was to see Black Swan. We got to see these students who, 6 schools participate, Boston area schools, Malden being one of them. And for this particular one, the teens actually put together what the workshop would be for everybody. Seeing them working a crowd of other students, fellow students, and they put forth doing sort of word association, and then that went into writing a poem, and then they swapped with another group who had to then act it out. It was very impressive to see kids that empowered and making connections with each other, being able to learn all the skills that theater can provide. So again, it's the Levine Learning Lab. It was very impressive to see that. And one of the things that really struck me as I was introduced to a lot of the people at the ART was their absolutely over-the-top compliments to the Malden students and the Malden staff, even saying that in some ways that the Malden, who's been with it from the beginning, have actually been able to shape the way that this program has started to evolve. It's absolutely a fantastic thing. It's another example of different offerings that our school does have. Hearing that we've got all of these future thespians out there, it's a wonderful thing that I hope that they're able to continue it. And as Mr. Piazza joins to actually watch The Black Swan, just caution folks who go, it is an intense production. If you don't know what it's about, as Mr. Piazza was not sure, it's intense. I will be sharing. Yeah, he didn't know. It was interesting when he went, oh, I'm like, you didn't know? And Ms. Clapp has nicely volunteered so that the students on their way, they are so excited that on their way back, they typically will record themselves to get that immediate feedback. And she is going to work with the students because they did have their meeting today, but because I would be at work, I wasn't able to sit in on it. So just hats off to these kids. They represent Malden just in such fantastic ways, and it's a really encouraging program to see in place that we have here. And lastly, seeing as we're doing some little personal things, happy anniversary, Andy, on Wednesday, 36 years. There we go.
All right, thank you very much. Motion by Mr. Drummy to go into executive session, seconded by Mr. McCarthy. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Drummy? Yes. Mr. McCarthy? Yes. Ms. Spatafora?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin?
Yes.
Ms. Horty?
Yes.
Mr. Piazza?
Yes.
Mr. Bernard?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mayor Christensen?
Yes.
Mike has been saying that it's so good, so I took it off this year.
Sit in the back.
I'm going to try to speak to the principals of the high school and then also the middle schools, try to get it out. Because we're also planning on doing slush shows as of the middle school.
Oh, I left the mic. All right, we'll entertain any motions. Motion by Mr. Drummy. No second? Seconded by Mr. McCarthy. Any questions about adjourning? You got a question? You better not. All right, all those in favor say aye. Anybody opposed? Committee adjourned.